when you strip away the noise and the bright lights, it's just the game you loved as a kid.
We all knew the WNBA was going to take a blow without Caitlin Clark, and now we know just how bad it is the new WNBA TV ratings are in. And if there ever was any question about the Caitlin Clark effect, well, now we're seeing it in full reversal. While casual fans are spending their time watching TikToks of Angel missing open layups, they're not watching actual games. Ratings are plummeting, and now it's starting to feel like panic hour for the WNBA. And its players, we saw the beginnings of cracks early, but now the dam broke. This is going to be the biggest piece of humble pie ever served, and WNBA players, particularly the ones who thought they had all the bargaining power going into the next CBA, are about to take a bite. And with the latest breaking news of Caitlin Clark's return, which I'm going to explain in this video, the contrast is going to be undeniable. We are about to witness history, and once it happens, there will be no walking it back. Let's get into it, but first, like this video to commemorate Caitlin's return. And don't forget to subscribe for more on Caitlin Clark, the Indiana Fever, and all things WNBA.
I don't think you could have a more perfect, a more perfect promotion campaign for anyone as what Wilson are just doing for Caitlin Clark. It's been legitimately perfect.
So the shock of Caitlin Clark's injury has passed, and with her out of the lineup, it's been a roller coaster. The Fever lost their first 2 games without her, including a tough loss to the then winless Connecticut Sun. Then there was a bounce back, a tough win over the surprised Mystics, followed by a dominating performance against the Chicago Sky. But just when it seemed like they were going to start turning the corner, they took a tough loss to the Atlanta Dream. I'll get into the on-court issues in a little bit because they're affecting the league more than people give them credit for, but if you've been watching the WNBA at all, you knew this was inevitable. The moment Caitlin missed any meaningful time, the league was going to take a hit, and sure enough, we began to see the cracks early.
What the hell is Nike? Where are you, Nike?
Ticket prices for the Fever's matchup against the Sky in Chicago dropped like a stone. As soon as word came out that Caitlin Clark would miss, prices began to fall like a rock, and quickly we heard of families canceling vacations, altering plans, even asking for refunds. And the minute those stories began breaking, you knew the old guard would seize on a chance to grumble about the new fans. And sure enough, look at this.
We need to talk about Caitlin Clark. Let's you and me talk about Caitlin Clark, since you refuse to talk about Caitlin.
So here's WNBA icon Sue Bird and wife Megan Rapinoe instructing fans to grow up. Great move on your part, right? These are the same fans who are soon going to send WNBA salaries through the roof post next CBA, and you're trolling them for wishing to witness the reason they shelled out the ticket. Let's get one thing straight. These weren't seats selling for a paltry 10 or 15% markup. Folks paid hundreds of dollars just to glimpse Caitlin Clark, and then those same seats were being resold for less than $10. In some instances, that's not a dip in value, that's a crater. It's like paying top dollar to watch Harry Styles and then being told, actually Kyle from accounting is going to sing a few covers. Fine, not that terrible, but of course, people are enraged, but things get worse.
First female athlete to have a signature basketball collection.
Are we actually going to discuss respecting the WNBA 9 as a business? Because if we're being honest, the league itself hasn't exactly treated it like a business, either, at least not until Caitlin Clark arrived, or years it's existed with a lot of financial support from the NBA. The Caitlin Clark effect, however, does not demand an out. She and the millions of fans who followed her are the league's only ticket out of Povertyville. This is the moment the league has been waiting for decades, and somehow they still don't seem to get it. You don't alienate the engine driving your growth. You fuel T, you protect it, you build around stuff like this. This was a complete watershed moment, or the WNBA 1.3 million fans watched an Indiana Fever exhibition game, and the momentum only grew from there, with viewership reaching its highest point at 3.3 million during the Fever's battle with Liberty. But now the difference between Hat Game and what we're witnessing today, without Caitlin Clark, is off the charts. EV already mentioned the ticket prices, that first visible sign of a change in fan behavior and discretionary pending, but there's another measure the E should be keeping a close eye on, one that isn't frequently reported on, but accounts for a IG portion of the story.
Next on the team, Caitlin Clark.
Betting, because Caitlin Clark's jury has fallen like a rock. Unless of course you're wagering on Angel Ree to ISS her first layup. More on that in a nut, because believe it or not, it adders adding it up. Fans are putting less of their hard-earned cash into the NBA, but what's next is much, much worse: fans investing less of their time. According to Nielsen, nationally televised WNBA games have lost a staggering 55% since Caitlin Clark's WOD injury during the Fever's 90-88 loss to the New York Liberty on May 24th. Zoom in on the Fever, and it gets ever more apparent and uglier since Clark was ruled out. Nationally televised Fever games have lost 53% of their viewership before her injury. They were averaging 1.8 million viewers, since then just 847,000. That's not just a decline, that's a free-for-all now, to be fair, on the national broadcasts. Like CBS, Fever fans are still howling up Fever Sky Game till managed to pull in an amazing 1.92 million viewers, which on paper reads wrong, but keep this in mind: the previous matchup with Caitlin Clark pulled in 0.7 million. Consider this matchup had everything you'd want from a TV draw: ancient animosity and lingering drama. From their season opener in said game, Jel Reese got upset over a foul, likely because it forced her to commit an easy hot, and we all know how that normally OES. Then came 10 consecutive days of Eadline's hate speech investigations and on-stop debate. You have to believe this NE with Caitlin in the lineup could have shattered records. The ratings spike hat Caitlin created is evaporating, and WNBA has to be panicking for a few reasons. The first, their other young star just mentioned is not shining.
Defense by the Sparks fans. 6 on the shot clock. Clark, deep 3.
Feet on the hardwood, basketball in hand, guiding you, inspiring you, working on the player you dream to be. Because the ball will always bring you back to your favorite place. Calm, focused, and confident. To the place all roads lead, the game of basketball.
Not only are the league struggling to get a boost from Angel Ree, they're actually going backwards. They continue to build her up as a star, and the media continues to follow suit, hyping him up at every turn. One of the most telling examples was courtesy of CBS Sports, who posted highlights from her game against the Fever. But here's the thing, they only had 2 scoring plays to choose from, and they posted both of them. One of those was an uncontested layup, and somehow they captioned it making it look easy. And then there's this most recently, Jel Ree was BET Sports of the Year, and get this, she defeated A'ja Wilson, a 3-time MVP and 2-time NBA champion. People online were confused, thought they got suntailed. Now, to be clear, this isn't a shot at Angel, but he kept gaslighting this relentless push to promote her to superstar status, despite obvious flaws in her fundamentals, is doing more harm than it every time she misses a routine eye-up. It goes viral every time a media outlet overhypes a basic play. Fans call T out, and while that might generate social media buzz, it's not translating to ticket sales or viewership. Certainly not anywhere near Caitlin Clark levels. If anything, it's negative odds for the league, and for Angel, who will probably benefit from less spotlight and more time to focus on developing her game. Because here's the thing, on-court performance matters when expectations are set high and players all short. Casuals tune out, and we may already be seeing similar warning signs at the Fever.
There is no better way to promote Caitlin Clark. She doesn't need any promotion of pre-game fits. There doesn't need to be any, even a Nike terrible promotion is you can't win, so win, while ignoring her. You don't need to see, there doesn't need to be any of that crap. There doesn't need to be any bells and whistles. All you have to do is promote basketball.
The Indiana Fever's play his season has been a mixed bag, surmised many lows, but the one consistent trend that has fans worried they're not playing the style of basketball that made people fall in love with this team. The biggest complaint, they're playing slow pace of movement transition offense. All of it has taken a noticeable step back, and for a team built around Caitlin Clark's tempo and playmaking, that is a problem.
And every shot you make is one less that I have to do.
You climb a mountain high.
The carry part, indeed. Why the WNBA needs to be seriously worried is that this isn't just an issue that appeared with Caitlin Clark's injury. The Fever were playing the same slow, stagnant game then with her on the court. Now fans and analysts alike are beginning to ask questions of head coach Tiffany White about the team system ND about whether this roster is truly designed to accommodate the fast-paced dynamic game that Caitlyn excels in, because if this is the path they're eating with or without her, it's a problem not just for Indiana, but for the EAG.
I think at times the hardest part is like just not being able to be involved in practice. Like, I love practice. Not a ton of people always enjoy like coming to practice every single day, but that's something I like really enjoy. Like, I really enjoy coming out here and like competing every single day with my teammates. Like, that's probably honestly what I miss most. Obviously, I miss the games. That goes for anybody that's ever hurt, but like, I love practice. I love getting better.
Obviously, there's plenty to correct in Indiana. And even though she won't fix everything Caitlyn Clark can't return soon enough, she brings the excitement, the energy, the ace, and from what we've seen thus far, he winning. And the league needs that. WNBA needs a fever team that's exciting to watch and actually winning games if T wants to maintain this momentum going. And if this being their CBA year, Caitlyn's absence is an absolute disaster. The ratings plummet without Caitlyn as the absolute cruise. Their negotiations, regardless has been said publicly, regardless how oodly Subber complains about fans, regardless how often people say the NBA was great before, regardless how many ET Awards Angel re-wins. Everyone knows who's creating demand. There's no hiding it anymore. Caitlyn Clark isn't UST. A star, she's the engine, and without her, everything lows down.
I think first and foremost, one of the things that, I knew about her from afar, but just seeing it on a daily basis is the way she works. I mean, we talk about work ethic a lot, but work style is another thing. And she doesn't waste reps. She literally does embody the how you do anything is how you do everything, whether it's a ball handling drill, or a shooting drill, or setting screens. I mean, she approaches it with such a discipline that she doesn't waste time, and I appreciate that. And so it's been nice and refreshing.
That take advantage of Angel Efsa and Brittany Gurrier were discussing. It's not theirs, it belongs to Caitlyn's, and now it's lost without her on the court. The numbers aren't there, the ratings are down, the buzz is dying, and he negotiating leverage that players hot they'd have coming into the next BA. It's slipping away, and that's the eel shame, because the league actually has some great storylines this season. First off, let's give credit where T's do that. Valkyries are genuinely on team too. Watch, they're playing fast, heavy, got personality. And most importantly, they're selling out games in full-size NBA arena, not a cramped 000 seat setup like Atlanta's, which, ET's be honest, looks more like a hopping mall food court than a professional basketball venue. And then, you have the rookies who are breathing EW life into the league.
Yes, but she was in the backyard. She was putting in the same time, sometimes maybe more than you were.
Right.
I can't fault her for what she was given, but look, as much as she was given, you can't tell me if that door would have swung the other way where she didn't live up to the hype.
Right.
Come on, folks are still waiting for her to fall.
Exactly.
Come on.
Yep.
This is exactly what you want to see: fresh, exciting games and real energy yielding around the league. But even with LL, that you still need a catalyst, Omion, who shines bright enough to pull in casual fans, media coverage, sponsors, ND national attention. And that's what they're missing without Caitlyn Clark. This is what many of the old guard simply won't give. Caitlyn Clark brings attention to everyone who comes with her, the eyeballs, the headlines, the curiosity, and if the remainder of the product is quality, fans remain, they become more invested in the league. That's how that works. It's a process, and sure, it takes time. Now, let's close with some good news.
Seems to be continuing to fumble the bag when it comes to Caitlyn. She still doesn't have a signature shoe. The merch is very limited that they put out for Caitlyn Clark, and a lot of fans are wondering why.
Caitlyn has officially been cleared to play, and in all honesty, the timing couldn't be better, because everything is in place for perfect contrast. She's back against the New York Liberty, the same team she faced the last game that pulled in 3.3 million viewers, and as we all witnessed, the ratings plummeted after that. This is the league's best team, and the Fever almost beat them the last time despite having a hobbled Caitlyn. Since then, the Fever have not been able to get anything together, even losing to the league's worst. But now they have a full-strength Caitlyn Clark and an opportunity to show the WNBA and the world what this team is capable of. And there's more to T than just a return. We're not just awing to see a healthier Caitlyn, we're awing to see a more cohesive, more confident Fever team that is also more on to watch.
To show you two different charts here. One, your stock price since 2021. It is down nearly 60%. Your executives and the people who are making these decisions, their stock options are worthless. Meanwhile, you have the single biggest needle mover in all of American sports since Michael Jordan, and you have somehow convinced yourself that you need to...
The criticism that the Fever laying slow is valid, but it's also artly, because the team had to adjust to layers who don't possess Caitlyn Clark's strengths. Without her controlling the tempo, he offense bogged down. But now that she's back, we can hopefully get back to the fast-paced electric style of basketball that fans fell in love with. Santel joked that viewership increased 95% overnight after the announcement, and honestly it probably did. I wouldn't be surprised if Caitlyn's return reaches nearly 4 million viewers at its peak. We are building for the ultimate statement game, a statement moment in WNBA history. There are moments when even the haters have to live in because the truth becomes undeniable. The Fever's success and the Eagles' hopes all lie on Caitlyn's shoulders, and it's time she's treated like a drop of basketball. In the comments to let me know you're here. Thanks for watching.